Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, listen for the crowd. I said, young man, because you in a new town.
J'écoute un peu.
To be unhappy, oh young man, there's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your door, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways.
Elle a juste les 4 coachs retournés. Hein.
A good time.
Hang on, aren't these the same things which we have been told time and again? Communication, integrity, leadership, passion, creativity, teamwork, and so on. In fact, corporate people have all been speaking of these skills perpetually as the secret for success. However, all these words sound like cliched ornamentations. Besides these glorified words, there are other things which also exist but are not talked about that openly. And today we are going to see those elusive, untold truths of survival and growth in the corporate. Gone are the days when job security used to be ensured with phrases of supplication like, "Yes sir, sure sir." Many have used this as a cover to escape mediocre performances, and some have risen up as well with this quality. But in today's times, every company is auditing the contributions made by each employee. No one can escape mediocrity now. Therefore, one cannot survive for long by just appeasing bosses and doing nothing. Accepting anything that the boss says is not going to work for long. Therefore, ask, interject, sometimes oppose as well when needed. Remember, your boss is not going to save your job if you don't perform. And to perform, one has to come out of the habit of supplication, irrespective of whether your boss is right or wrong. So if you are not convinced with anything, ask questions instead of accepting anything. In the game of table tennis, your job is to keep pushing the ball to the other side of the table. And that's the thing we can learn from it. Never park your tasks, approvals, actions in your side for long. Pass them on to the other side of the table. Accountability is that ghost which keeps lurking behind you and catches you off guard. Remember, you are out of the game if you fail to push the ball to the other side of the table in time. And never break deadlines. Do what is in your control without delay. Like in the game of table tennis, not all the shots result in win points, but you need to keep moving the ball to the other side. Anything that involves money must be documented. Write it in mails, paper, text messages, or even in WhatsApp, but document it. Many people, both freshers and experienced, fail to document things. And when the issue arises, they fail to convince people, their bosses, their management on their honesty, their intentions, their hard work and dedication. I have seen many people lose their job due to silly mistake of not documenting stuffs like taking approvals or client change in the requirement all of a sudden and so on. And not only to protect oneself from any future problems or issues, documenting your achievements also create a difference. It's like mail your monthly achievements, highlight the projects, And remember, in the corporate no one believes in the verbal story. People ultimately ask for proofs and evidences. Although patience and humility may sound like generic stuff, but these two qualities help you in creating a brand of yours and also help you in handling stressed situations. In the corporate world, as well as in the outside world, respect people and respect rules. You get what you give to others. Therefore, always try to be a helping hand to others, no matter how insignificant your help might look like. But people are more likely to remember you, to recommend you. Remember, image is not built in a day. It takes time. It takes months and years. And therefore, you have to be consistent. You have to be patient in your work and behavior. Due to impatience and arrogance, people break relationships. People break communication with colleagues, the previous bosses. But you never know when an old network can be so vital in your career. And therefore, don't burn your bridges. And as we talk about image building, creating your brand becomes very vital. In the corporate, don't just do your job what is assigned to you. Rather, use that as opportunity to make a brand of yourself. You need to give a personal touch to the delivery of the work. Otherwise, the competition is so stiff. There are so many people, and if you don't try to distinguish your work from others, then you will not be counted as different, and it will be very, very difficult for a newcomer to get highlighted among other team members. And therefore, even if you are excellent in performance, you need to sell yourself anyhow. Leveraging small tasks and projects to sell yourself to your company, to your clients and future employers is what help you in creating your brand. Remember, personal brand is the combination of skill sets, performance, and positive recommendations. If any of these three things are missing, then your personal brand will not be holistic, will not be resonating across the company. For long survival and growth, snakes and many insects perform the process of ecdysis, adding new layers of skin underneath the outer skin to replace old redundant skin every season. And the same way, to stay relevant in job and to keep growing, adding new layers of skills is the most effective survival strategy. Although one can add divergent skills as well, but adding new layers of skill sets upon the existing domain is the most effective in building a logical career. And in today's world, when you see things changing so fast at such a fast pace, therefore you cannot survive with one skill set. You are going to get redundant very soon, and that's the reason why you have to keep honing your skill sets. You need to keep adding new ammunitions in your armor so that you keep fighting and keep growing. Otherwise, you will be just like that dead skin which gets shed by snakes. Now we talked about how important is adding new skills in your overall portfolio, and it becomes a little challenging for newcomers to prove their new skill sets to their management or their bosses or to their clients. The reason for that is people with experience, they boast of wisdom, and envious newcomers are made to believe that only wise people can do it. And that's the problem. that needs to be decoded and solved. See, every wisdom has a recipe behind it. Every wisdom has a logical to-do list underneath, which can be decoded and implemented by anyone, irrespective of age and experience. And it's very interesting how we can learn from those who are performing great, those who are delivering their numbers phenomenally. And so you need to ask those people, you need to ask your seniors and colleagues as what are the building blocks they use to achieve their tasks, to accomplish something. What are their to-do lists in their job? Analyze their approach to the problem. See how they seek a solution. Compile those to-do lists and try to see if the same pattern can be formed in the way you work. You analyze your own tasks, your own products, your own assignments, and then break them into small executable blocks. Make a list, make a rule book, and practice. And very soon you will see that you were able to make difference not only in your work but also in the perception of other people. Remember, wisdom is not equal to the number of years of experience. Wisdom is equal to a rule book, a recipe that results in performance. Now we come to a very interesting part of our discussion. That is, office politics is something like a storm in the distance. Office politics is the most understated dark reality. Everybody knows it exists, but they do not want to talk about it. But this topic needs to be demystified to make you understand its importance and how to cope with it. To make things easier to understand, let's take the example of a sea and a small boat sailing calmly on it. The wind is not disturbing in the beginning. However, at another part of the sea, there is a storm building up and heading towards the boat. Office politics is like that distant storm in the sea which might engulf you. So be aware of it, its movements, its nature, its participants, and sail your boat accordingly. Newcomers fall prey to this cyclone quite often because they never prepare themselves for it. Never jump into office politics. Never indulge into office politics unless you know how to handle the situation if it turns ugly, how to sail yourself amidst a storm. And last, you might have heard about nepotism, and there are very good chances that you might have experienced that as well yourself. And I can tell you with a lot of conviction that godfathers are legit. In companies, people are busy promoting themselves rather than a newcomer. It's quite true that talent and opportunity do not go hand in hand, do not go in a linear way all the time. Therefore, show your talent yourself to your seniors, to your bosses, to your future employer. If you are like someone who likes to do their job perfectly but silently and fail to make resonance and fail to market themselves in front of your bosses, in front of the seniors, the senior management, then rising up the ladder of success is going to be quite bumpy and slow for you. Therefore, make use of any interactions as opportunities to showcase your work, your good projects, and your enthusiasm about the project to somebody who has some influence in the organization. And those are your so-called godfathers. Remember, godfathers make career grow faster. So grab them early, be visible, get spotted.